Morning, guys, and welcome to a quick preview of Wyong today. Thought I'd just knock it out this way rather than writing a big long essay. So, pretty much get straight into it. It's a 2 metre rail today. Good track. Can't imagine it being very different to usual at Wyong. So, up there on the pace, leader outside leader, one out, one back, one out, two back. It's sometimes hard to come from back it on the inside there and build your momentum enough to get into the finish. So you kind of want it up on the turn, and that's the goal there. Straight into it. First race of the day is a 1200 metre maiden. There are a few scratchings here if I get through these. So a couple out. The main players here, especially in early betting, are gold tickets. Comes up about $2.40, and Latin Boy about $3.20. Gold tickets is obviously first up for 622 days, going 1200 metres first up off a singular 1000 metre trial. It's obviously had plenty of work. My concern is that the time was a bit soft there. Even the last section was a bit soft there, and now going to a race straight off that from a long break, I've got to, even though it does look like getting a possible soft lead, maybe Sun and Air and Latin Boy push forward into more prominent positions, but still hard to really like this horse, especially at $2.40, and I'd have to bet around it. Latin Boy's obviously ran into a smart horse its first start over the 900, ridden aggressively there to hold a position, and even though it did look the winner, it should take great benefit from that run. 900 to 1200 is not ideal usually, but for a horse of this nature who really didn't look suited over the 900, but just maybe looked a class above them that day, can handle the step up quickly to the 1200 metres. Sun and Air looks like it's got a bit of speed. 64 days between runs is an issue for mine, and Invincible Light racing well. Limited type's probably a bad way to put it, but it definitely looks like getting the right run. Maybe just one of those horses that may struggle to build that momentum and get out at the right time, and possibly one to bet around because of that. And Lady Moochie is racing well in average races, gets back and probably runs on, and the danger with it is that it might get out sprinted here, but Tyre On definitely does suit from that regard. He normally does put them into the race a bit earlier than most, and it probably will get its chance. So for me, Latin Boy clearly on top, and throwing Sun and Air and Lady Moochie into the Quinella probably, just hoping that the favourite needs the run first up. Gold tickets. Race 2, 3-horse race. Issue here for me being that Janu looks the best horse in the race on paper. Has trialled okay, maybe a little bit soft still, but that's not too bad for a horse of its nature to be a bit fresh over the 1000. And All Charisma, who's really running 3 fast races, really fast races. First up, ran in that Zonk race, got a little bit tired, got beat 2 lengths, but still, every horse has come out of that race and won. Went to another strong race in the Stonebrook maiden and beaten by Stonebrook. I don't think there's any issue with that form either. And then we have last start where it dominated around Gosford and finally got a softish lead there and put them right away. Was able to build its momentum and really ran through the line and beat another subsequent impressive winner in Quattro Fogley. So I'm saying that All Charisma is a better horse when left alone, which looks like the case here, even though it is only a 3-horse race, and these sort of horses are just a nightmare to run down. I think Janu's the danger, just concerned at the flat spot that she seems to have, and whether 1000 metres will just be too short and All Charisma could be off at gone. And Cockles, it's hard fit and racing well, but I just wonder if it's got the firepower to beat these two in a little 3-horse race, nowhere to hide. Race 3. Very interested to see Sensicova here as it's run on Saturday. A good effort there in a fast run race. Show the replay of it if I can.
Race 4. Lights on. Crimson Sun. Heyman's going forward on their inside. School Fee settled fourth and then followed Sensicova.
So Sensicova had the really nice run here. Chelsea McFarlane to ride. Does the chasing up to the top group here, which is okay. They're going pretty quick. Gets to the outside, so definitely had its chance here. And Rock and Red Rocket comes with it down the outside. They beat the rest pretty comfortably. And literally was in front of the last stride. Stays at the same distance. It's back 50 metres. Gets the upgrade to Karen McAvoy. No knock on Chelsea McFarlane there. And should see every opportunity from an inside gate in a race that really does lack a bit of depth. Hollymount Star comes up favourite off 2 solid runs down at Kimberley. Always a little bit wary of Gwenda's horses going away from home for the first time. Did look like did a good job for 1,000 to 1,200 last start, but there was a really slow tempo there in the sprint home, so now has to go to 14 from a wide gate and probably has to come wide and round them, so that's why I'm against it. Emma Jane back to this sort of grade, up to the 1350 probably looks okay for her. This is a race you definitely can win, and 2 lengths to Mia Rosa So Splendid over the 14, 2 starts go on a soft track is good enough to win a race of this nature, you would have to think. So Sensicova for me clearly, from possibly Emma Jane, and then I'm looking at Ruffy Waldorf outside it, who has some solid run at Bathurst last start, which may usually be a bit of an average form pointer for this sort of race, but it does look to be strong enough, and it was a strong race for Bathurst that it came out of last start. Getting to the interesting races now with race 4. Conservation from the Waterhouse Yards trialled up pretty solidly. It's just sort of going down the page. I'm giving a bye to Kajitan at this stage. Conservation says trialled up pretty well on 3 occasions, twice recently. Bowman rode it in both trials. No knock, looks a professional. Doesn't look overly gifted with a huge turn of foot, but does have pace and does look like it can quicken a little. Interested to see how it goes today. Probably pushes forward from that wide gate. Irish Success was quite a strange galloping action. Had 2 trials before its first start. Really quite impressive. We'll see that it's something awkward happens in the saddle slips shortly after the start. He's back outside these horses in the pink colours. We'll see that Bobby sort of left in an awkward position on it. He doesn't have any luck here and loses the turn, understandably. Hard to steer with the saddle shifting, but really does quite a good job, especially late, to keep trying to find that line. That was a pretty weak race, but obviously this horse's effort was good, and just a concern again that went well with the open spaces there. Now drops to the inside gate, may struggle to hold the position, so will need luck. Kettering's trialled okay at Newcastle. A horse that I wanted to bet around, but possibly is on the up and looks fair enough price around the $8. If it came up short, I'd oppose it most likely, but that seems fair enough. Radiant Choice is the one that I'm really trying to work out how it's come up $2.50 favourite. It's led in a Wyong lead-up race for the Magic Millions, and done a decent job there. Set outside the leader in a softish tempo and battled on okay for 2.3. That was a good run. The second start, it's led in a really soft tempo and knocked up. Possibly have to forgive it for that too, because it's been spelled after it. It's come back and its trial efforts were just okay for mine, even though it won its last trial in really slow time. I just think it hasn't proven that it can hit the line yet, and I'm really concerned about a horse of that nature in a race that does look to have a little bit of depth to it, coming up 6-4. So betting around it, I thought the Start All Over was okay, but looking at its price, $17 looks more than generous and definitely could entertain having something on it. Strike Rocks are the hardest in the race to really get a handle on. Misses the kick a touch in its only trial. And the Ingham colours back here sort of get squirted out the back, and once it's there, that's it. Never ever gets tested. Watching it through here, just really barely moves on it. Just make sure she's keeping up under her own steam, and just hard to see what she's got under the bonnet. She's obviously got something. She's done that all within herself. Bowman Booking's a pretty solid pointer, and should be interesting. Thrilled down the bottom, trialled like once further for mine, and not one I'm too worried about, but will be strong late, you would imagine. So tough little race. I think the winning chances are kind of conservation. Irish Success with a bit of luck. Kettering maybe. Betting around Radiant Choice and Strike Rock, but with no confidence here. So possibly Conservation and Strike Rock are the two I'd have a little pot shot at, because they look well placed around the $6.57 mark, and hoping for the best with a little bit of luck required. Race 5, the other 2-year-old race, the fillies division. Once again, a short price favourite in Intrinsic, but it isn't the horse I want to bet around here. I think Meraki Miss is the one I want to bet around the $4 mark. Just looks to have a few flaws in its form. AC Tongdi is an interesting horse, led up a 900, which ended up a strong race. You know, the Group 1 with the mission coming out of it. Fanoon looks a really nice horse, and others in it. So even though they beat 6 lengths there, it's quickly put away and come back and has trialled strongly again. This is the first time she's kept a fillies division, looks the leader, and you know, if she left alone, can run a really positive race at around the 10-1 mark. Intrinsic did trial really well, really fast time for Wyong. That's the little issue, that it was for Wyong. Heavyweight rider on it. Bowman takes over. Perfect gate. So you think filly on debut. 6-4 seems tight, considering there are a few, or definitely 2 or 3 in this race that have trialled up well enough, and one of those is definitely Iowa. Draws the inside one trial before Christmas against Yulong Xinjiang, who came out and won in town. Has come back and trialled well at Rose Hill, and now comes to the races for the first time from an inside gate, and probably either stalks the lead, probably stalks AC Tongdi, and just needs that bit of luck at the top turn to get out and get in the right position. The other, the reason why I didn't like Meraki Miss was simply because it's run pretty average times in average trials, and didn't look that great to my eye either. It's just the one in this race that I think probably might need this one, and might need to find something a little bit easier. Pretty fast from the Snowden camp, did enough, never in the right spot in its latest trial against Kamantari. Also trialled well against Grand Theft Auto before that. Gets the soft gate, and $12 definitely can't knock it. So another race where I'm not too overly confident. I think the winner will come from between the 4 horses, AC Tongdi, Intrinsic, Iowa, pretty fast, but I think, you know, Intrinsic and Iowa are definitely the ones to hold out, because AC Tongdi is probably the one that could be a little bit soft late. Won't spend too much on this race. Sayed comes up odds on off an 1850 metre win first up. Definitely time was okay there. They ran along well, and it's finished the race off. Dominant late with the big weight. Gets the big weight again. Bowman to ride. I do think that jumping to 2100, jumping in class, or not jumping too much in class, that was a 65 and stays in a class 2, but definitely looks short enough at the $1.70 mark. I think Napoleon we put a line through its last run, ran quite well first up in tougher grade, and then went up in grade last start, 2100 metres, totally out sprinted there off a really slow tempo. So again, another forgive, and that should top him off perfectly for a 2100 here. Loud Enough is a horse that can definitely be there and bat away, and bases the other winning chance, you would have to think. Coming from a city run last start and looking hard fit, and had the 1900 metre running ready for this. Off a freshen up there, 25 days. So you've got to think that she'll improve, even though she's had 20 days off since. So I can't back say it at the price, but throwing, I can have something on that Napoleon at $13 and throwing 1, 2, and 5 baser in the quaddie. Second last, and I think there's 3 chances here. I think Calypso Bay coming off a good trial behind Dalciello. This horse looked really progressive last preparation. No luck at Warwick Farm the day it was there, and then put away after it came to town and ran into a pretty solid race over the 1900. He's back third last here. Dalciello you expect to trial really well because he's up and racing and just a fast horse. So Dalciello comes down the outside. This is Calypso Bay coming through the middle. You can see that Calypso Bay is very positively ridden in the trial and given a good sound out, and Dalciello's a dominant late. That's fine. Like, Dalciello literally should towel these horses over 1,000, and you expect this horse to be pushed over 1,000. So everything's positive there. I think the $5, $5.50 around probably won't last, and it's the most interesting horse in the program for mine. Comfortable, come through a pretty solid win off a bit of a flat run at Kembla. Strong late there. Second horse come out and won again. Looks to find a good position and one that can still be on the up. So it's got to go in. And I thought Aspen Star was a chance of pushing forward and leading here. And off a decent sound out first up can be the one to hold out. And the last race I had no interest in whatsoever. I couldn't find a winner. I think Collateral and Vega are the 2 to beat, but with no confidence. And hopefully everyone can pick something out of that. Thanks, guys.